What did I just see? The Suicide Squad, James Gunn's reboot sequel of the 2016 movie, which on rewatch, that 2016 film does not hold up. I used to find it mildly entertaining, but now I really don't like that movie. I was really looking forward to see what James Gunn had to bring to the table with this new Suicide Squad movie. The trailers look fantastic. It looked like a style of film I'd really, really enjoy. And I have to say, this movie is not what I expected in the slightest, and I had a total blast with it, and I loved every second of what he brought to the table, and I'm here to tell you why. So, this is my review for the new Suicide Squad movie, and honestly, I could not imagine a better or more insane Suicide Squad movie than this. And it's honestly just one of the most eccentric and most bonkers comic movies I've ever seen. It absolutely pulls no punches with such creative filmmaking decisions, from its really fun, crude humor to just pure gruesomeness. And all I can say is I just loved how unique this movie was. I went in mostly expecting something fairly similar to Gunn's other movies, like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies or some of the other hardcore comedic superhero films we've seen before, but I thought this was a fully on its own thing. It was unlike any other movie in the superhero genre I've seen before, and even though saying that it does follow a similar story to the original Suicide Squad, in terms of its tone and style, it felt nothing like that film at all, and pretty much is an improvement over that film in nearly every single way. Everything works so much better here, and they just found so many inventive ways to show off this story with so many fun uses of tying together scenes, sometimes in a non-linear way, where it show a big section of it and then show a section that is set before, and I found that a really interesting way to tell the story and tie it together, and it made for a really constant, rapid, frenetic pacing that just made everything so unpredictable as it went along, with so many hilarious sequences that are placed so perfectly between the incredible action set pieces, which just go so insane, they're so colourful, so well choreographed, and they add so much stuff around the action sequences, like interesting plays on self-aware humour, or just ways of incorporating text onto screen where it just splashes out in front of you. Gunn's head literally just explodes onto the screen on nearly every single way, and you can tell that in every single moment, and even sometimes they show this literally with heads exploding left and right. This movie is utterly insane and it's unpredictable every single step of the way, and that's mostly due to this cast of characters who are all villains. They're all very wacky and weird villains. Some of them we've seen before and some of them we haven't, but it's this cast of characters to me that was done so well, and all of them were unpredictable. You had no clue what they were going to do next, you didn't know which ones are going to be killed off, and the entire chemistry between the characters this time around was far stronger than in the first film. In the first film, there was like one or two moments of them just sitting around and talking, and this one had a few more moments of that, but they were implemented within the action sequences, and it just added such a chemistry between our cast of characters, and there was not just humor between them, there wasn't just banter between them, but there was also heart between them and emotion, and some things missing from that original Suicide Squad movie. But there were, of course, characters that recurred, such as Harley Quinn, who is still a standout on screen. I love Margot Robbie as this character, and she's great here once again. I really liked her in Birds of Prey as well, but I actually liked her the most in this. She had some of the most creative sequences in the film. She had an interesting side story that was off kilter to all everything else going on in the movie. You also have some new characters introduced who are also excellent. Idris Elba is Bloodsport, who does feel like he's a little bit recast from Will Smith's character Deadshot in the original film. It was obvious that Will Smith couldn't return, but I really loved Idris Elba in this movie. They found a way to make him a different character.
We're all gonna die.
I hope so.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And I really liked him. John Cena as Peacemaker was hilarious.
The leader, you're supposed to be decisive.
And I've decided that you should eat a big bag of dicks.
If this whole beach was completely covered in dicks, and somebody said I'd eat every dick until the beach was clean for liberty, I would say no problemo.
Why would someone put penises all over the beach?
Who knows why madmen do what they do?
I loved Rick Flag being back again. They actually added some interesting things to his story as well. And I also loved King Shark and Polka Dot Man and Ratcatcher. All these characters were just so interesting and unique and funny, but they also had motivation. They also had things about them that were intriguing or deep, dark pasts they had to deal with, and the film created a lot of emotional moments out of these scenes that added to the humor and added to the comedy, and I thought it was all such a wild experience. and I loved what it did with each of its core characters and placing them in interesting ways. And this movie definitely feels like a pure comic book film. The way everything splashes onto the screen in a way that you wouldn't really expect. It's so in your face and so flashy in the best way possible. It's the type of comic movie that I would like to create, where it just feels like a comic movie splashed onto screen, with it's just a total bloodbath, and it completely takes everything in a hilarious manner. This movie is utterly bonkers, and I loved every single minute of it. I'm not going to get into spoilers, which is why I'm not really talking about in depth about anything here. But I do want to talk about some of the issues I have with the movie. They're all towards the end, and they're all quite small. Even though I loved the unpredictability of this movie, and I loved how things surprisingly popped into screen in comedic moments, things that just took ages to build up. Payoff to that build up is just so quick and witty and funny. It feels so spontaneous and in the moment, and I really loved that direction style, and it happens a lot in the film. It happens a lot in Gunn's other movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, but here it's just taken to another level. What I really had an issue with, though, was some of the character deaths in the film. There are a lot of characters who were killed off, and some of them were very surprising, and some of them it felt like the characters have been built up, and then they just get killed off for comedic effect, and just shock value, and you didn't really feel like they had a satisfying death. I understand they're villains, but when you set up emotion or arcs for these characters, and then just kill them off randomly and never really show the impact of it at all, you don't really feel that, and that happened a few times in the movie, so I don't think it handled its character deaths so well. This might be something that bugs me on repeat viewings, but it bugged me the first time, because I didn't feel like I had enough time with these characters. And there's also a lot of interesting plot lines, especially with the twist that's introduced towards the end of the film, that never really go anywhere. And I liked how the film delved with what I think is an interesting piece of the Suicide Squad story, is that the control. We really played on the idea that these people don't have control, and do these people deserve control? Do the people above them, are the people above them who are in control of them worse than them, more villainous? I liked this idea. It's something that was sprinkled within the original Suicide Squad but never delved upon, and this one delves upon it a bit more, and it also introduces our villains, who are very wacky, weird villains with a big monster and stuff. I don't want to spoil any of it for you, but if you've seen the trailer, you know what it is.
Oh my god, we've got a freaking kaiju up in this shit!
I thought that aspect of the movie was so utterly insane, and I just loved all of it. There was a plot line introduced later on in the movie that never really went anywhere, unfortunately, and I thought the film ended a bit abruptly, where you sort of are not going to know how it ends. I hope they make a sequel, and I hope we see these characters in the sequel. But if we don't, I'm perfectly fine, because this works on its own. You don't have to see the other Suicide Squad movie to enjoy this. It works perfectly fine as its own unique thing. It's not setting up anything. It's just a random, weird Suicide Squad movie, and it's the best version of a Suicide Squad movie I could have possibly imagined. James Gunn literally throws everything on the screen here and bursts it out with energy, fun, and it's just so imaginative in its storytelling and its filmmaking. The action set pieces are wonderful. The cast of characters are great. The humor is placed perfectly. Besides a few issues, this is honestly everything I've ever wanted in a Suicide Squad movie, and more. So, I'm going to give the Suicide Squad an A. I'm also going to give this movie a 92%. That score could easily go up, and I think it might on rewatches, but still, I absolutely had a blast with this movie, and I hope you do too. If you have seen the film already, make sure to let me know in the comments down below what you thought of it. Make sure to check out my Letterboxd as well. I have loads more reviews and thoughts on movies on there. The link is in the description. So, thanks for watching, and goodbye.
Here's the deal. We fail the mission, you die.
If we find out any information you give us is false, you die.
If we find out you have personalized license plates, you die.
What? No.
If you cough without covering your mouth...
Harley, although that isn't an open invitation for you to cough without covering your mouth.